Welcome to New Stripe City and welcome to Q&Ace. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. As you guys know, it's been a while since I've done the Q&Aces, but I wanted to bring those back. So I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. If you're new here, essentially what we do here is Bengals interviews. I give my takes with simple videos. We do film review. And then we also do Q&Ace, where I allow fans or people that are just watching this to come in and ask questions. It's been a while. So as you see, there's a link down here. You can use that link to pop in and go live with me. So I would love to have the fans in here. But first, I really just want to address something. For the most part, the last time I did a cut the tape on, if you're not familiar with what cut the tape on is, it is a film review that I do where I go through the all 22 film of players that are currently on the Bengals, college guys, all kind of stuff. So last time that I did it, I put the live chat to be members only. So let me explain exactly what members only are. Once this channel, I think it's been able to do members only for like 5 or 6 months now. Members only is where someone can subscribe to this channel and pay a certain amount. And I think there's 3 tiers for the memberships. And so what happened is that I opened those up and people started joining the memberships. The issue is I never really did much in terms of content and stuff like that to feel like I'm actually giving those people whatever it is that they signed up for. So there was one cut the tape on, I think on T. Higgins that I did that was members only. And that was pretty much it. There was some stuff that I released early, like the Ken Riley documentary. They got to see it probably an hour or two earlier. But for the most part, I haven't really contributed to those people. And so I've been looking for unique ways to give them exclusive access and stuff like that. And so one of the things that I was going to do was allow them to be the only ones to comment on there. And so I did that last time. Now, here's the thing. I could have made the entire video just members only, but I still made it available to you guys, which means the content is free. And so there were people that made comments, which was kind of perplexing. And they were like, oh, this is behind a paywall. If it was behind a paywall, you wouldn't be able to click on the video and watch it at all. So you were still able to see the Riley Reef cut the tape on or anything like that. And then here's the thing. You could still comment after the video was over. You just couldn't live chat. So there will be things like that probably on cut the tape on that I would do. I'm not going to do it for Q&A's. But for the most part, it was kind of perplexing because the all 22 that I'm showing you guys is film that I have to pay for myself. I have to get a Game Pass subscription and do stuff like that. So it was kind of weird that someone was like, people were like, oh, this is all about, money making or stuff like that. And it really wasn't. It really was about the people who have supported the channel, that signed up for memberships. And I truly appreciate that. It was something to give back to them. And so when things like that happen, that's all it is. I mean, you could still comment after the video was done. You could actually watch the video. Like, if people don't understand how channel memberships work, I could have made that entire video members only, but I didn't. So that's all I have to really say about that. And, this channel is not really life-changing money. I'm just going to keep it 100. It is what it is. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I appreciate people who did sign up for memberships. And I'll make sure that I do things to make sure that those members get what they pay for. I would feel bad to not be able to do anything for them, for those who did it. And then I would also feel bad I'm not going to make my whole entire channel, just member-based content. That's not who I am. That's not what I've done. And you guys know that. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I appreciate you guys for hitting the links and stuff in the description. We have another cut the tape on coming. I might do another one on Riley Reef, which I actually kind of have pulled up, where it's actually film of him from the Detroit Lions playing right tackle. So I will be doing that one pretty soon. Probably just going to do a Q&A today. I'm going to try to get back in the groove of doing these on Sundays again. I would have done it at 8 o'clock, but I have me and my wife are going out skating and stuff like that at 8. So we're going to go ahead and get this rocked through today. And then I also have like a concept video that I'm working on that's pretty cool that I want to drop later on this week as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. It's all good. Throw me some questions in the comments. And then if you'd like to jump on, which I like to actually have people jump on, hit that link down there to streamyard.com / it's on the screen. be sure to hit that up and pop in because I'd love to hear from you guys. I know it's been a long time. I haven't been trying to avoid these. It's just been busy weekends, dropping off the kids out of town and stuff like that. So it's been pretty tough, but between the holiday weekends and stuff, it's just been pretty busy. But we're gonna get back to it. So I'd love to get somebody in here into the invite link. If you do get into the invite link, you'll be able to pop on with me. You can ask me whatever you want, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Let's see. Appreciate the support from you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna try to teach her to skate tonight, actually. Yep. So I guess I can talk about what I've seen from the OTAs and stuff until we get somebody popping in here. So far the Bengals have started off OTAs. I think the one thing that's kind of stood out is just how impressive Joe Burrow is. Joe Burrow, to be able to come back from this injury and to be able to come out and immediately take snaps and do what he's doing with this offense is just crazy. It's crazy. So I think that's big. I think the fact that T. Higgins is potentially coming out there to have a bigger year. I mean, I've heard that he's gotten into the weight room. He's done his thing there. I think, man. So the first question is coming from Justin Money 513. He says, who would you put money on to have the most receiving yards on the Bengals this year? Honestly, I think I'm going to go with my man T. Higgins. And it's simply because you probably have seen this video on my channel. I did a who has the best receiver corp in the AFC North. And I gave the argument for the Bengals, obviously number one. But in that, I did some research and uncovered some of the crazy numbers that T. Higgins put up last year. You're talking about he had the second highest receiving grade in the AFC North, only trailing Jarvis Landry last year. You look at his deep rating, it's a 95.1. You look at his short rating last year, 95.5. Line of scrimmage passes, he had a 78. And the first year ties the record with Chris Collinsworth for receptions with 67. Also was on track to potentially break AJ Green's record outside of that in terms of receiving yards, probably about 60 or 70 yards from breaking that. I think it's going to be T. Higgins. I think he takes a big step, and then you have to remember he got hurt. You have to also remember that he missed or didn't start really 2 games, didn't have Joe Burrow. And so I think it's T. It's just slightly more than Chase. I don't think that it's going to be like he's going to super dominate. I just think kind of like PFF has projected. I think PFF has him at 1,100, has Chase like right at 1,000. I think that is going to be T just because he's got that experience of 1 year under his belt, already kind of dominated last year. So I think if I'm putting my money on a particular receiver in terms of receiving yards, I'm going to go with T. Higgins because I think he's going to hit the ground running. And he really kind of already was in that X role last year. But the thing that Tyler Boyd has said is that they're all interchangeable throughout all 3 receiver positions. So you can see T at the X, you could see Chase at the X. You might even see Boyd, move around as well in and out of the slot. So I think that makes it very intriguing. But I think if it were up to me, I'm going with T. Higgins if I'm putting my money behind it. Is T or Chase wide receiver 1? I think it'll start off with it being T, but I think as the season could go on, it's probably Chase. I think Chase's role in this offense is possibly the X, but as I said, they could all rotate in and out. I think you could even put Chase in the slot at some points to see what he has there. Like I could see them putting a big package on the field with you're talking about T. Higgins on the outside, Auden Tate on the outside, and this is just rotating. This is not starting or anything. Rotating, you could see them put Jamar Chase in a slot in a lineup like that. So it's really hard to say. If I had to put a person in it right now, I would say eventually Chase. But I think to start the season off, it's probably going to be T. Higgins at first, and then I think they'll be interchangeable. It's almost pick your poison between those 2 guys. All right, we got another one here from my man. It's just the right thing to do. Do you think the secondary is going to hold up? It seems like it might be a weak spot on the defense. I think they have some solid players in there. You talk about Mike Hilton, they brought him in from Pittsburgh. You talk about Trey Waynes is finally going to seemingly start after a year off. And then you have some other guys, Eli Apple. You talk about Darius Phillips. You know, you have some guys, Cheeto. I think Cheeto's actually going to be, I think Cheeto and Mike Hilton are going to be the two best ones in the secondary in terms of the cornerback position. However, I still am cautiously optimistic. I think that it is potentially a weak spot because you no longer have a definitive number one corner. I'm not saying that Trey Waynes can't, fill in and be solid at the number one cornerback position, but I just think that it's going to be tough because I've kind of viewed him as a 1B kind of corner where he's a guy that you probably want to have in a good tandem. Like if you were to have William Jackson III, to have Trey Waynes as your second corner, with him as the first corner, I'm not so sure how that's going to go, but we haven't seen him play. He's had a whole year off. So I don't know if that's going to be negative. That could impact him negatively. He could have some rust. So I think that it's still a position that if they can add another guy like a Steven Nelson, I would love for them to add to that room and continue to add to it because it was decimated with so many injuries last year. I think it could potentially hold up, but it really depends on what you consider holding up. If holding up is they'll get interceptions and will probably give up some touchdowns, give up some plays, sure. But I think it's going to be tough when you look at some of the receivers that they could be going against. You talk about OBJ just in the division. You talk about the Steelers wide receivers. Would those present problems for them? We'll have to see. Honestly, we'll have to see how it plays out. It's not a weak position. I don't think it's the biggest weakness on this defense. I think that honestly, if I'm candidly speaking, I think that is still linebacker. Edge rush, even though we've added a lot there, I think edge rush might have more questions than corner. And that's not to say that the edge rush will struggle, but I think that, at least with Cheeto, with Mike Hilton, with Trey Waynes, those are at least decent starters. Like they're not the worst. It's not like you have BW Webb out there starting, right? And that's not to say that, at the edge rush position that we have that. I just think that there's more questions, I think, there. And you got some depth there too. You got some proven depth there. When someone like Eli Apple, I mean, I'm not saying that he's an amazing corner by any means, but when you have Eli Apple as kind of like your fifth corner, whereas last year he was starting, you kind of do have some depth. And if Darius Phillips is your fourth corner, you have some depth there. So I still think that they need to add to the room, but I'm still somewhat confident that it's okay. All right. Shout out to my man Kentucky Ron member. Appreciate that, bro. What's up, Ace in the chatters? Appreciate that. Let's see if we got anything else in here. And don't be shy to come in, guys. I got the let me make sure that I get this up on the screen. You can join this chat to talk to me by clicking on that link there, or at least copying and pasting that link and putting it up in there. I really probably need to get that pinned, so give me a second. I'm going to try to stay on here for a little while, but if we don't get anyone in here, I don't know how long it's going to go. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and pin this comment, but keep the questions coming in. Let's see. Let me see. I'm going to try to put it in the comments again and see if I can pin it. So here is that link. And we'll try to get some people in to keep this thing going. So let me go ahead and pin this. So that message should be pinned with the link. And it looks like y'all going at it in the comments. Let's see. SRS 528. Will you see favoritism towards Chase? No, I don't. I don't think you will. I think Joe will like all of these guys, you know, equally. I think if Chase has the hot hand, yeah, I think he's going to feed Chase, but I don't think it's going to mean that uh, T Higgins won't get targets or Tyler Boyd won't get targets. I think he'll just spread it out. I mean, when you look at what happened at LSU, you had Justin Jefferson getting love, you had Jamar Chase getting love, and then you also had Thaddeus Moss getting love. So, and then also the other receiver outside of that. So I think he'll know how to spread the ball around. I think that there's plenty of snaps for everyone. I think we kind of saw it last year with Higgins, Boyd, and AJ Green. Guys got targets. And I think you'll see more of that next year. I just think that it'll be more explosive. I think he'll be feeding all of those guys. So let's see. Looking for some more ones here. We got another one here. It's just the right thing to do. Appreciate that, bro. What do you think about pro rails and the hype surrounding them? I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard a lot about pro whales from you guys in the comments. I have not looked at him myself. I'm going to have to look into him and check out his film and things like that. But Nandin and some other guys have always been talking about pro whales. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't look into him because I feel like he's not going to really make the roster. When you talk about CJ Uzama, when you talk about having Drew Sample, who they just drafted in the second round, you talk about having Thaddeus Moss. I think that those are probably your three guys. And then you have Mitchell Wilcox, who I think that they like. And then you have some other guys. Pro Wells, you just have to see how he fits in. And so I will eventually, I'm not going to say that I'm not ever going to watch Pro Wells. It just hasn't been number one on my priority list so far, but I will take some notes on Pro Wells and get back to you with a better answer than that. I don't want to lie to you and act like I know about Pro Wells when I honestly don't. I'm aware of who he is and I've heard the name, but I have not looked into him. If you remember, there was kind of something similar with the running back that we took out of Kansas, and then I finally got to sit down and watch him. And I think that's what I'll probably have to do with Pro Wells, but I think that position, there's no way I feel like that they're going to cut Thaddeus Moss. Like that's Joe Burrow's guy. So we'll have to see if Pro Wells can stick around maybe on the practice squad or something like that. We'll have to see. Who's going to be our sack leader this season? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's going to be Hendrickson. I just did a cut the tape on him. I think the hype is real. Before I watched it, and that's the thing. That's why I always like to watch stuff for myself. I respect everybody's opinion and stuff like that. But the first thing that I heard was people were saying, oh, he got a lot of like fake sacks and stuff like that. And, part of that is possibly true. Like maybe it was easier for him to get sacks and stuff like that. But when I looked at the cut the tape on, I looked at who he was going against. And the competition that he was going against were some pretty good tackles. They were not scrub tackles that were, backups or second best tackle on the team. He was going against good tackles. So I think it'll actually be Hendrickson. I think that he's going to come off of that edge and do his thing. And I think obviously with him getting that big contract, I think he's going to want to prove himself. So I think for me, Hendrickson is probably going to be our sack leader if I had to take a guess. Kevin Jones, he asked, do we need a better tight end? I think tight end could always be upgraded. I think that they'll be good with the guys that they have, but they don't have a guy that strikes fear into the defense like a Travis Kelce would, or like and I'm not, Travis Kelce is the best guy out there, but they don't have a Darren Waller, they don't have a Travis Kelce, they don't even have like a Zach Ertz from last year. So I think CJ Uzoma, with that being said, I think he's still going to be good and serviceable, but I don't think it's like a Mark Andrews situation. I don't think it's a situation where people are game planning to stop your tight end, if you get my drift. So do we need a better tight end? I have said for the longest, I think so. Because there's a lot of uncertainty at that position moving forward. And I think the best thing that you can give a young quarterback is a sure-handed, threat at tight end. And I'm not saying that CJ Uzoma isn't sure-handed, but you guys know what I mean. Like when you see some of the weapons that these guys have at the tight end position, some of these guys are just unstoppable, right? The Patriots back in the day with Gronk, the Travis Kelce's, those guys are big difference makers, and they really open the field up. The Mark Andrews of the world. I don't feel like we've had that since Tyler Eifert. So yeah, I would say that they could get better at tight end. I'm not so sure that it's this year though, given that they have to see what Thaddeus Moss can be, given that they're still trying to see what Drew Sample could do in year 3. I think that that is what gives them some stability right now. Realistic expectation this year from my man Jeffrey Russell Jr. Appreciate that, Jeffrey. How many wins? I really think that they could get at least 7 to 8 wins. I really feel like they could get 9 wins. It really all comes down to, what this team is capable of. I think that this team really could have stole a lot of wins. They had a lot of close losses, 1-score losses last year. I could see anywhere from 7 to 9 wins, and it's dependent upon the trajectory of Joe Burrow being able to protect him. I think it's dependent upon the defense being able to create turnovers and get him the ball back and play better and be able to stop the run. If they can do that, I think that this team can win 7 to 9 games. I honestly do. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor here, Midwest Best Barbecue. You might see this in the back and you're like, what is this? It's Midwest Best Barbecue. It's straight out of the Natty, located in Loveland, Ohio. You can actually get this online at midwestbestbarbecue.com. But I actually recommend you stopping in there and getting you some brisket fries. They just came out with some Aloha wings. They got the G-Funk wings, so be sure to check out them. Big fans of the show. Mutual friends. We're always trying to support businesses in Cincinnati. So shout out to them. You'll continue to see that there. But if you're wondering why does Ace have barbecue sauce in the background, that is why. Got another one here from Stomping Peak. Will the coach still be pass heavy? It seems from the outside, the Bengals only lose because they focus too much on the pass. I think you'll see more of a balance. I mean, you're getting Joe Mixon back involved into this offense. And I think that Zach learned by the end of the year that they were passing too much. I mean, when Joe Burrow is throwing for 60 times a game, I think that you realize that was a little bit too much. I think that they will still pass. I think that they will still be a passing offense. I mean, you can't not pass when you have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. But I think that they will still run the ball as well. So I could see it, I think they were passing about 70% of the time last year. I think that you'll see like a 65 to 60, 40 pass to run ratio because I think they realized running the ball allowed us to take time off of the clock. And you got to run the ball in the AFC North, and you got to run the ball come playoff time. But I still think that they will be a two-dimensional team, not just one-dimensional. My man Ryan B, who will be a surprise breakout player this year, I think as Khalid Kareem, not only because he came on the show or anything like that. I just literally, and I keep saying this, when I went and looked back, he was in the backfield a lot, bro. He was in the backfield a lot. And I think now that he's able to get the speed down and everything, I think the fact that they drafted some other guys into there, I think he's going to want to get his shot and make his impact felt. Who's going to be the Bengals cornerback one? I think it has to be Trey Waynes, but I think in a weird way, it could potentially be Cheeto. Shout out to my man Meech Dub. How do you think the team will use Moss this season? I think that he'll actually be the H-back, and I think that he'll also potentially come in there and come in as an extra tight end and make some plays. All right. Let's see. We got a super chat from my man Joe for $4.99. Joe, I appreciate that, bro. That helps the channel. Do you think that the D-line will be top 15 or top 12? It's tough to say, man, because I'm always optimistic about the defensive line. But last year they only ended up with 17 sacks. Top 15, I'd have to look at what the sack totals were by teams last year. Sacks by team in the NFL. Let's see if we can pull this up real quick. So if they're in the middle of the pack, right, you're looking at, so we're saying about 16th, 17th, right? So it looks like at 14th, how many sacks did they have? This is playoffs. Let's see, regular season. It's not, there we go. All right, regular season. So let's take a look at sacks, right? So in order for that to happen, Cleveland had 38, 35. Chicago has 35. So you're talking about 35 sacks. The Bengals were last year with 17 sacks. Then you had Jacksonville 18 and 19. Could I expect them to jump up that high? I'm gonna say nah, bro. I don't think that they're gonna jump up to the top 15 at all. Could they jump up to maybe 20? I think that that's more realistic because I think these are guys that haven't played with each other. It's a new scheme. This is a new 3-4 defense. Willie Anderson warned us about this that we weren't going to get many sacks transitioning and making the changes in this 3-4 that we did. But I think that the sacks could come from other places. I think you talk about Mike Hilton, it could come through. I think if I really feel good about 20. Maybe they could be 20th in the league in sacks and start to build on that because I think that potentially debating on how things go this next season, I think that you could see them potentially still take another edge next year. So we'll have to see. Prometheus Wells. That's funny. That is funny, Kentucky Ron. All right. Out of the blue for my man Don Pat. Who do you see on the Madden cover? People kill me for saying this on Twitter, but I think Joe Burrow has a realistic chance of potentially being on the Madden cover. I don't know if it's this year, maybe it's a year from now. I'm all for it. I don't believe really in the Madden curse like that. I used to, and then there was a season where I think someone won a Super Bowl or won an MVP. But I just want to see a Bengal on the cover, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't think there's never been a Bengal on a Madden cover. I would love to see a Bengal on the Madden cover. I mean, just think about that. Because I remember when they had AB on the Madden cover, we all hated that. Imagine Steelers fans it's like our version of a FU, like Joe Burrow on the Madden cover. Like, yeah, your reign is over. Your reign is over. The new GOAT of the AFC North is here. I'm going to take this super chat real quick. Then my man Alonzo just popped in, so I'm going to go ahead and get him up, queued up. Banana Clip Casey, appreciate that super chat for $2.99, bro. He says, how many rushing yards and TDs for Joe Mixon? I think that Joe Mixon is going to get 1,000 rushing yards, and I think that he's going to finish with 9 touchdowns. Yes, Chad Johnson was on NFL Street, but no one was on Madden. That's facts. So appreciate that super chat, bro. I've still got the link at the top for you to join in, but we're going to bring in my man Alonzo. Alonzo, man, I hope you look like you're driving, bro.
Yeah, I am. But, I just want to pop in real quick and, say what's up. Just talk a little bit about, Joe Burrow and OCAs, man. He's just looking amazing.
Yeah, bro, he really is. I mean, Joe Burrow is it's just crazy. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, what are Bengals fans thinking? I'm like, bro, this isn't normal. Like, to be out there OTAs, after you just tore so many ligaments in your leg, and the excitement that we saw from him last year, he didn't look like a rookie. Like, the only games you could probably say he looked like a rookie, and I was talking to Zim about this, you could probably say the Colts game when he threw the interception at the very end. You probably say the Ravens game because they blitzed him all game. Outside of that, he didn't look like a rookie. And so, like, a lot of us are excited about him because he's coming back. And the thing is, like, I spent some time doing like physical therapy myself and rehabbing. Right. You actually make those muscles stronger and better. So he's going to come back better. And it makes sense why he has more velocity because that knee is probably stronger. They've probably worked on also his legs, calves, his feet and stuff like that because it's all connected. They probably have done work in other areas to make sure that he's good. So,
yeah, man. I just go back and think, man. When he was at LSU, that one season where it was like decent for him, he had an okay season. It was, everybody was like, okay, he did okay. But then look what happened the next year. He broke like every record. He had the record-breaking season. So I'm expecting a huge, huge season from Joe Burrow. Honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, man, he can be possibly in the MVP race. Because that's just how good he is, especially with Jamar Chase now on the team. And I go back to the video that you made too. You know, we possibly may have the best wide receiver core. One, not the best, but one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. So, like I said, I'm just like I'm as shocked as everybody. I'm really impressed from what I'm seeing from Joe Burrow, and man, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket, but I'm expecting the Bengals to be a playoff team this season.
No, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, Alonzo. I think, like you said, one of the things that you said is Joe Burrow is talented enough to compete for an MVP. People are gonna watch this and say, "Oh, Bengals fans are crazy saying that." We're not saying that he's gonna win MVP. We're saying that he's capable of winning it. And I think anybody that was taken as the number one draft pick, whether that's Joe Burrow, whether that's Justin Herbert, whether that's any of these guys, Kyler Murray, they all have the potential to win the MVP award based on
Oh
what
yeah,
we've already seen. I mean, these guys are not playing like your typical rookies. Like they're breaking records, doing things. And, some people are going to say, oh, well, Joe was just on pace. Well, no, he actually broke records during that time. Yes, he only played 9.5 to 10 games, but he still had, I believe it was consecutive games of 300 or something like that, or 4 or 5
right.
games of 300 plus passing yards. That was a record. Like, those are
Yeah,
Andrew Luck type things when those guys came in the league and did. And so, Alonzo, I want you to be safe, bro. We don't want to distract you too much. Was there
yeah.
anything that you wanted to say before you get out?
Man, man. I wish the preseason was here already. I'm already pumped for the season. I got to get my new stripes. I'm gonna get my new stripes pretty soon. I wish that there was a Ocho Cinco one that we can get because we saw him in the photo shoot. I wish I could get my hands on a new stripe Ocho Cinco one, but for now, I think I'm gonna be rocking the Joe Burrow or T Higgins jersey. But yeah, man, stay safe out there and who dey?
Who that, brother? All right, take care, man.
All right.
All right, that was my man Alonzo. You actually can make the Chad Johnson joint. They actually have the custom ones available on the link that I have on Fanatics. So it might be something that he can make on there himself, or if you're a Bengals fan and you want to make that one, you can because we have the custom one. Even if you want to make the Jamar Chase white jersey or orange jersey, you can do that using my Fanatics link or just using Fanatics in general to customize your jersey. So appreciate Alonzo for stopping by there. Someone asked who they forever. He asked how many pounds of muscle Joe Burrow gained. I am not that insightful in terms of that, but he definitely does look jacked. I can definitely back that up. Joe Burrow definitely looks like he is jacked right now. So with that being said, I'm going to answer a couple more questions and we're going to get out of here. So my man Russ ENT, excuse me. Does Chad win his fight tonight? Man, I hope so. I hope so. But when you're fighting against a real UFC fighter and you're an amateur, you're not even an amateur boxer. This is really like your first fight. I'm gonna say a prayer for Ocho Cinco, bro. I would never say that I think he's gonna lose, but that's you guys know that I use the box and I never even had an amateur fight. And he's right, you have to keep your hands up. But that is a professional fighter, bro. So I just hope that he doesn't get hurt or done like Nate Robinson. I'm gonna be pulling for him as usual. So hopefully Chad can at least survive and make it through the 4 rounds without getting knocked down. And maybe it goes to decision. I think that he'll probably get it to go to decision. But I think it's a tall order to ask him to knock out a professional UFC fighter. That's pretty tough because you got to think about it. That guy has had amateur fights and stuff like that before he's probably went pro in UFC. So, Alan Parsons fan, do you think we will have the 16th or 17th offensive line this year or more like 23 or 23rd? Is that still enough to protect Joe Burrow? I'm going to say we probably have the 16th to the 18th line when it's all said and done based on simply some of the player upgrades and really the coaching upgrade. I think that there will be solid enough to be average in the league, maybe 16th through 19th or something like that. I think that would definitely be enough to protect Joe for sure. Because I think if you talk about last year's, people probably had him anywhere from 28th to 32. So I do think that they will be better next year because you get Jonah Williams back, you get Riley Reef, who is a very solid tackle. If you haven't watched my cut the tape on, be sure to watch that. You also have Quentin Spain. You also have Trey Hopkins. You have some depth now, Fred Johnson. So I think that the line will be overall better. You're going to get some good coaching technique in there from the new coach. So I think it's plausible that they could be anywhere from 16th to 19th, even if they're just 20th. I think that that's still better than what they were last year. I think even if they're 20th, I don't think that means that Joe Burrow gets murdered this season. Let's see. Shout out to my man Natty Vibes 808. Shout out to you, Hude from the 808 Hawaii. That's what's up, bro. I'm jealous. Let's see. Would I have let Green go, or would you have kept him one more year? If he would have been up for staying another year, I would have probably have kept him. But I think both sides had to do what was best for them. I think if AJ wanted to go out and win a championship, I think that was better suited going to a team like he did. I just want him to at least retire a Bengal, come back. And whether that's coming back to sign just one of those contracts, that's what I mean. I don't mean come back and suit up. But I think, once he's done doing that, come back, sign that one-day contract to retire a Bengal. I think that's the classy way to do it. I wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, if it was up to me, I think I would want to keep him. If he wanted to stay here another year, I'd probably do that. And then kind of let him ride off into the sunset. So, yep. But thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Q&Ace. I'm going to try to get to these again on Sunday, so keep an eye out. Probably going to try to get back to doing these at around 8 p.m. Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue. Be sure to check them out. Shout out to my man Aiden in the chat. Who day, brother? Who day? Appreciate the support. Like I said, I'm going to try to get the channel members some stuff, but it's not going to be in ways that's going to take away a lot of this content from you guys. And shout out to my man Al Mac. Appreciate that, bro, for $5. Keep doing what you're doing, and always remember the love far exceeds the hate. Appreciate that, bro. Who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday. I'm out.